This man accidentally shrunk his kids. You won't believe what happens next. We open with Amy, a teenager who's juggling a phone call and whipping up some breakfast. A brave attempt at multitasking that even Gordon Ramsay might second guess. Her little brother Nick, a mini Einstein in the making with a penchant for robotics, is fiddling with a scaled-down version of their dad's latest invention. Tragically, it only leads to a harmless tap on their dog, who simply yawns and goes back to his doggy dreams. Meanwhile, their dad, Wayne, is hard at work on his shrinking Ray, because who doesn't want to make those annoying problems just a teensy bit smaller? He's hunched over in his man cave fully engrossed when he gets a text from Amy. Breakfast now. It's as if he's installed the parental control software in the house, with Amy in charge of all alerts. Now Wayne's little science fair project can be, let's just say, quite the wake-up call. The neighbors find this out the hard way. Their grumpy neighbor stomps over, ready to give Wayne a piece of his mind, when he walks right into a trap set by his son Ron. Suddenly he's sporting a toy arrow headband, the newest range in high fashion. Talk about making a statement. When the chaos dies down a bit, Nick shows Wayne his shrink Ray model. It's an I got it from my papa moment, but Wayne is too focused on making his own Ray work to notice. The clock's ticking and he needs to get it working before the big conference. He tests it on an apple, but instead of a tiny apple, he gets an applesauce explosion. It's like a food fight with himself, and he loses. Their dog, always the opportunist, comes in to clean up, who knew the shrink Ray was actually an instant apple puree maker. Shifting gears, let's catch up with the neighbors. Dad tries to rope in Russ, the eldest son, for a fishing trip, but the kid's got other fish to fry, like sulking. Turns out he's been kicked off the football team. Meanwhile at Amy's and Nick's, breakfast is a scorched nightmare that even their dog hesitates to wolf down. Amidst all this, Wayne has to rush to his conference, leaving the kids with a house to clean and their mom on her way. Nick ropes in a friend to help with the lawn, using a remote-controlled lawnmower because cutting grass the old-fashioned way is so 2022. Next door, a family fishing expedition's packing turns into father-son power struggle, while Ron, the youngest, tries to get a game of baseball going. Nick brushes him off, calling baseball dying games. Ouch, low blow. Amy's dancing around, cleaning to her own rhythm, catching Russ's eye. He's entranced. Nothing says teenage crush like a girl with a vacuum. A quick becoming stronger training session with dad only ends in a fight, because Rush's enthusiasm is on vacation. I mean, who needs football when you've got family drama, right? Ron, baseball prodigy of the day, takes a swing that would make Babe Ruth do a double take. Only instead of a home run, the ball goes off track and smashes through Nick's attic window. It lands on the shrink Ray. Boom. Houston, we have ignition. The Ray starts randomly firing, reducing Wayne's favorite couch to something even a Barbie doll might find cramped. Feeling guilty or maybe just terrified of the incoming parental wrath, Russ makes Ron go apologize. They head over to the Salinkses, or however you pronounce it, where they're greeted by Amy and Nick. Ron and Nick head to the attic to fetch the misfired baseball, totally oblivious of the miniaturization death ray they're walking into. And wouldn't you know it, Amy and Rush get curious, follow them, and bam, they're all in Lilliputian land. Meanwhile, the dog's going crazy in the attic, barking up a storm. A phone ringing from downstairs adds to the chaos. Meanwhile, our hero, Wayne, is at the conference, failing to convince his colleagues about his shrink ray. Without evidence, he's the punchline of the conference. Heartbroken, he heads home to an empty house and a still ringing phone. Annoyed, he chases the barking dog into the attic, narrowly avoiding the shrink ray, when Ron's baseball, still in the Ray's line of fire, switches off the ray. The kids try to get his attention, but their squeaky mouse-like voices are simply not cutting it. In the confusion, Wayne decides his couch has been abducted by aliens or something, since it's nowhere to be found. In a fit of rage, he starts wrecking his own shrinking machine. Tiny bits and pieces rain down, almost burying the kids. They scurry out of the way just in time as Wayne sweeps the attic clean. All the kids, along with the dust, get swept into a trash bag that Wayne tosses out into the yard. Miraculously, the kids manage to escape their garbage too, but they now face a jungle-esque backyard. Meanwhile, Wayne's wife arrives home to a husband whose dreams have been crushed, a mysteriously missing couch, and missing children who she thinks are out having fun. But let's get back to the real action. The mini adventure in the jungle, yard. The kids are on the move. There are monstrous butterflies, dinosaur-sized toys, and rivers that are actually puddles. Suddenly, Nick has an epiphany. Dogs have great hearing. They try to whistle for their dog, and it actually works. As they climb some flowers to hitch a ride on the dog, Ron's cat shows up, scaring the dog away, and leaving the kids stranded again. Amidst the chaos, Nick slips and takes a dive into a flower. He's allergic, but luckily, the pollen is too big to inhale. It's not every day that being shrunk saves you from an allergy. Suddenly, a swarm of bees shows up, making your allergy seem like a minor inconvenience. They decide Nick would make a great target. Russ, being the brave, foolhardy dude he is, tries to play knight in shining armor but ends up being the reluctant co-pilot on this bee roller coaster ride. This airborne rodeo takes them past Wayne and the neighbor, who think they're swatting on a regular, not kidnapping my kid type of bee. The bee eventually lands, leaving Nick and Russ stranded away from Amy and Ron, like a bad game of hide and seek gone wrong. Back at the ranch, Mom started to worry and heads to the mall to find the kids, because malls are where kids hang out, right? Wayne, on the other hand, realizes the bat he used in his bee-chasing episode isn't part of the usual kiddie arsenal. This triggers a light bulb moment, and he dashes to the attic where he discovers his mini couch. The penny drops, and he starts a frantic search for the kids. Putting on his Sherlock hat, Wayne deduces that he might have swept the kids away like yesterday's dust. He spots their escape route in the garbage bag, and starts a cautious expedition in the yard, looking like a weird stilt walker. avoiding the grass like it's hot lava, and using binoculars to spot any signs of mini life. But in classic dad move, he trips over a garden hose, causing a water apocalypse for the kids. Amy and Ron take the high ground to avoid becoming ant-sized Atlantis citizens. While Amy spots Nick and gets swept off by a giant water droplet, Russ turns into a mini Michael Phelps, diving in to save Amy. After turning off the torrential garden hose, Wayne decides to traverse the yard like a DIY tightrope walker, using clotheslines and electricity wires. At this point, the kids are enjoying some spa time, washing their hands in a pond, and Amy and Russ are having a mini rom-com moment. On their journey back home, they stumble upon a cookie big enough to make Cookie Monster jealous, but as they dig in, a massive ant appears, turning their feast into a flea fest. However, Nick, having a lightbulb moment of his own, suggests they tame the ant and ride it home, because that's obviously the logical thing to do, right? They confront the ant, but it's not about to let a bunch of munchkins boss it around. Only when Amy bribes it with a piece of cookie does it mellow out. Ron then climbs atop the ant like some sort of weird bug cowboy, leading the way home with the others being dragged behind on a leaf sled. Who needs Uber when you've got Ant-er, right? Meanwhile, Wayne's search efforts are not going so well, thanks to the family dog treating this all as some sort of elaborate game of tag. Wayne gets catapulted off the lawn by a counterweight, like a rejected Cirque du Soleil audition, freaking out the neighbors. They call the cops, thinking missing persons, not Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Pretty soon, Wayne's wife gets home and adds another call to the cops' busy night. Now the police think they've got a teen rebellion on their hands, but the neighbor, despite the fact that he applies pressure on Russ like a hydraulic press on a grape, insists they had no reason to run away. His wife begs to differ, hinting at his less than stellar Dad of the Year credentials. The cops head to Wayne's house next, where he spills the beans about his accidental kitty downsizing project. He swears they're safe, just miniature and chilling in the backyard. His wife, overcome by this, has a fainting spell worthy of a Victorian drama. Meanwhile, in Ant-er camp, Ron takes a meal break while the others catch some Z's. When they wake up, they decide to let the ant go, but it's like a faithful pet now and sticks around. As night falls, Wayne and his wife turn the garden into a mini search party. Russ, taking a smoke break, flicks his cigarette into Wayne's garden, causing a fire scare for the mini team. Ron and Russ quickly realize Dad's been blowing smoke about quitting his habit. They turn a bad situation into a camping trip, using the embers for some DIY lighting. Later, overhearing the neighbor's domestic squabble, Wayne and his wife decide to fess up about the shrinking incident. They're skeptical until they see the tiny couch, the ultimate conversation piece. Meanwhile, the kiddos turn a Lego block into an Airbnb for the night. Nick and Ron bag the top bunk. Amy claims the lower one, and Russ gets the floor. A little late night chatter and our older siblings seem to be getting closer, in more ways than one. Now if only they weren't bite-sized. Then Amy and Russ take their budding relationship to the next level with a kiss. It's a sweet moment, right up until a monstrous scorpion crashes the party, thinking he's starring in his own B-movie. Everyone manages to do their best Usain Bolt impression, except Ron, who's stuck in the Lego block, as if he's in a low-budget escape room. Just when we think Russ is about to be turned into Scorpion Chow, the ant, being a real bro, shows up and defends him. It's insect WrestleMania, but our ant hero takes a sting to the body and it's game over. This broke my heart as a child. Heartbroken, Ron comforts his dying ant buddy, proving you can indeed be too attached to a bug. Fast forward to the next morning and Nick's pal rocks up to give the lawn a trim. Unbeknownst to him, he's about to turn the Lego block into a potential death trap. Meanwhile, back in the attic, our adult heroes are DIYing the shrink ray, and not a moment too soon. Just as the gang is sought refuge in a wormhole, they feel the tremors of the impending lawnmower doom. It's like an earthquake and a tornado got together and decided to terrorize some mini kids. It's close. Too close. Thankfully, Mom and Dad managed to seize the remote and turn off the lawnmower just in time. Otherwise, we would have had a truly gruesome scene on our hands. Now with their friends sent packing, the kids try to get their parents' attention, but they're more invisible than a ninja at midnight. Just when Ron is about to lose all hope, their furry canine savior makes an appearance, and they hitch a ride to the house. Back inside, Wayne's tucking into breakfast, not realizing that Nick has taken a swim in his cereal. He's about to take a bite, when the dog, acting like a miniature lifeguard, goes for the ankle save. And voila, Wayne spots Nick doing a backstroke in his milk. Soon the whole mini-gang is discovered and joy abounds. Now it's time to break up the shrink ray and get these kids back to their normal, teen-sized selves. But of course, it's not that easy. After a few scares, including a nerve-wracking test run on Russ, the process is a success. Even love blossoms amidst all the chaos as Russ scores a date with Amy. Finally, our two families unite, making the beginning of an oddball friendship. And what's the best way to celebrate this? A Thanksgiving dinner with a turkey that looks like it ate all of its smaller cousins. And the dog gets an oversized treat. This sure isn't a traditional happy ending, but then again, who cares? Moral of the story? What the ant doing?